This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. So Ignition, we're here, week one of the Six Nations, and there are a lot of good games this weekend. Games that have a little bit of history carrying on from last year. Players coming back, players out. So let's get into the preview and also make a few predictions as well. So first up we have kicking off the tournament is Wales versus France. Now I did a preview video on the Amateur Rugby podcast, so check it out if you haven't seen it already. And I pretty much lay out my thoughts about it. Wales are very much up against the wall in this situation. France, even though they look like they had a couple of injuries, I thought there's a bit of a silver lining for Wales. But they still have a very, very strong squad, starting 15 and bench. Wales, they have a couple of promising players coming through, which is great to see. You know, they have Edwards on the bench, so you know Wales could do something, but I don't think ultimately they will take the win. I think France are going to be too strong for them. They have a lot of gas in their back line, and those two classic players which we love to see on the mark, and Boy Wonder number 9, they are back together. It's like the dream team reunited. So just our luck that it would come against Wales, but yeah, I expect to see a ferocious battle in the back row. Faletau is out with an injury, and you can expect that these days. You know what I mean? At his age, for a rugby player, he's it's like dog years, right? So he's about 140 in terms of rugby player years, but we have some experience. Hopefully, we'll steady the ship. I hope Jack Morgan has a good game, because he looked really promising when he was coming through. And then he had an unfortunate injury, so I'm looking for him to have a great game. But hopefully Wales put in a performance they can build on, and but ultimately France are going to take the win, I think. Moving on to the second game of this weekend is Scotland hosting Italy at home. Now, crazy fact is that Scotland kind of blew their chances last year by losing to Italy in Rome. I thought last year's opportunity for Scotland was their best. You know, Ireland had a little bit of a World Cup hangover, it seemed, you know, until they stuffed France. France, you know, proved the point in terms of they took them like 3 games to actually get going. And so Scotland, I think, probably missed their opportunity last year, and Italy was one of the speed bumps for them. So Scotland are definitely gonna want to take revenge. A few interesting choices. Cherry is picked a hooker. He's more of a set piece specialist, and he's very good at throwing in. He's a line out guy, and I think Scotland do need that, because if your set piece can't function, then you know the team kind of breaks down, regardless of how good your backline is. If they don't have good first phase ball, then it's kind of all for nothing. And so Cherry's in. Unfortunately, Tuipulotu, who's recently been promoted to captain, he's out injured. Dodge and everyone's favourite Finn Russell is the joint captains. Now, I'm happy about that. I think Finn Russell really needs to push. And I got my Lions, my OG Lions shirt on today. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I think it's from the South Africa tour back in the day. That brutal tour with the O'Driscoll tackle. But anyway, I think Finn Russell really has an opportunity now to get Lions starting spot. You know, he's been playing really well. I wasn't the biggest fan of him, I gotta be honest, but I like him when he captains Scotland. So I hope he wears the captain's armband, because he really does raise his game. I remember watching him play against New Zealand, and he was fantastic when he was captain. You know, putting his body on the line, getting into tackles, and doing all the other stuff that he does so naturally as well. So I really think it could be a monumental season for him to actually prove at international level his worth, you know. So yeah, Dodge, Ritchie, no Dempsey in the back row, which I'm a bit surprised of. I'm a fan of Dempsey, just love that hard running style, and you know, yeah, I'm a bit surprised he's out of the side. So he could have really shone, I think, against this Italian side, and really sucked in their defenders for their amazing backline to do the work. Hugh Jones is playing in the centre, outside centre, and he's phenomenal. Try scoring machine. But that back three is still there. You've got Darcy Graham, King Horn, and then BDM Van der Merwe. So that's dangerous, right? So there's going to be a few tries scored, definitely. But not France, Italy are no slouches as well. You've got Tommy Allen and Garbisi both in the side. Amazing footballers. So, you know, there's going to be a creative element, I think, to the Italian play. They're going to try and break up the game and make it loose, and hopefully take their chances when they get them. Meneghello and Brex, a great centre partnership. That's I would hesitate to say, but I haven't looked at the stats, but maybe that they've played together more than any other centre partnership probably in the Six Nations. We'd have to check that out, but I wouldn't be surprised. And then Capuzzo is playing. So Italy have some firepower too. I think Scotland will be too much for them at home. So I'm going to go for Scotland in that one. And then we have the Piece de Resistance. I butchered that, but you understand what I mean. The biggest game of the weekend, which is on Sunday, I think. So that'll be a Sunday kickoff. And that's Ireland hosting England. Again, Scotland lost against Italy. England lost against Ireland lost against England last year in Twickers. So, you know, there's a lot to play for, even in this first week. And Ireland have some players coming back. Tag Furlong, unfortunately, is out. But as far as the Ireland team is concerned, Easterby has kind of put his mark, I think. This is my opinion, but I think he's put his mark by picking Pendergast over Crowley. I was a bit surprised about that, to be honest. I think Crowley did a phenomenal job last year, and picking up from Sexton was no mean feat, and he absolutely looked like he was born to play that role. And now to pick another youngster coming through instead of him, I think was a bit harsh. Pendergast, I think, is a great ball player. He's beautiful hands. He's a tall guy, but I'm not sure whether that's the right choice, particularly at this time in the year, right? You know what I mean? Crowley is going to be wanting to get on the Lions tour, right? Pendergast has done nothing really. He had a couple of half decent games in the autumn internationals, but seems a bit harsh. I love Crowley, that's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying Pendergast is a bad player by any means. He's obviously very talented, but is he ready for the role that he's being asked to perform? I'm not sure. I guess we'll wait and see. Crowley is on the bench, but that one stood out for me the most, and I think that's more of a Easterby decision than a Farrell one. Front row could be a good battle against England. Bealham is in there. Interesting to see how Bealham goes, whether he can hold his ground, because there's plenty of dog in that England front row. Good back row for Ireland. You've got Ryan, Doris and Van der Fleer. So that's great. Gibson Park is back on firing on all cylinders, and he's a game changer, you know what I mean? Aki and Ringrose, I was surprised they didn't continue with the partnership that they had in the Henshaw and Ringrose, because I thought they looked fire, you know. And Aki he lost a little bit of form in the World Cup. He was phenomenal, but I guess giving Ake a chance to play his way back into the into form kind of thing at the international level. But I do expect Henshaw to come on at some point and partner Ringrose. And Ringrose needs the rugby under his minutes. So I think he'll, the rugby under his minutes, he needs minutes, playing time. And I think, he'll do the full 80. Yeah, but England then, Borthwick is going through a midlife crisis, it seems. So he announced the team early, number one, which is not like him. He likes to play, traditionally, he likes to play his cards close to his chest. But he announced the team early. He was laughing and joking, and it was like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those guys, he's got a new car and he's like upped his dress sense and all this. He looked a different man. So a lot of confidence from the England camp. Is it justified? I'm not sure, but Caolan Murley is on. He's the big shock selection. Plenty of pace at the blindside wing, number 11. The front row, as I was saying, will offer Ireland a little bit of, without Tadhg on his experience there, his cool head, sometimes cool, sometimes a bit red, but you got Cowan, Dickey and Genge, they're going to get stuck in, so like Bealham, I like him, he's technically a very good prop, but sometimes I wonder if he has the bottle for it, so he's going to be tested. Interesting to see how Maro Itoje is going. As I put out before, somewhat controversially, I think Doris had no competition whatsoever for Lions captaincy, and now Maro has been promoted to captain for England. If England go well, Doris could be looking over his shoulder. So Maro is going to have a lot. Itoje is going to have a lot to play for. The two Curries, double Curry in the back row, and then Earl. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. Not sure that's the best kind of balance for the back row, considering Ireland's back row, which has a mix of power and kind of jackling and loose ball play. Mitchell Smith, great to see Smith at 10. I would have been gutted if he'd been picked at fullback. So they picked him up at his preferred position, as I'm sick of and tired of players being, picked out of position. And then you got Slade and Lawrence, good centre partnership developing. I really do like Ollie Lawrence, actually. I think he's a classic centre. So then Murley, Stewart and Freeman, not a bad side. I'm not sure if the back three, I think Keenan is playing as well, and Mac Hansen. And Lowe. So it's going to be a good competition. I think sides are pretty evenly matched to start the tournament, because you don't know who is going to actually be firing on all cylinders, what players slightly out of form, carrying an injury or just coming back from injuries. It's always tough to say in the first week. As for predictions, I'll make a few predictions. I'll go, I did say 40-20 on the Amateur Rugby podcast. I'll say it's going to be closer now. It's going to be 35-25 to France in the first game. Scotland, I think, are going to be too strong for Italy. I'm going to say 25-15. It's not going to be a rout, I don't think. And then England, Ireland. I think Ireland are going to nick it because England have been rough in the last 20. I don't think they're going to get over it in Dublin. So I'm going to say England, Ireland, 27-24 to Ireland. So hell of a weekend we got coming up. I hope you enjoy the games. I'm going to be watching rugby all weekend. Oh, what a shame. Let me know what you think. What are your predictions for the weekend? And let's enjoy it. So cheers.